mate?
Hey mate, just a large flat white, please.
Bloody. That's it.
That's it, man.
What's your name?
Tom, thank you. What is up, you sexy beasts? How do I get up here? I am at one of my favourite beaches here on the Gold Coast, Tallebudgera Beach, Tallebudgera Creek. It's a dog beach, so Chip can run around and I can chill out and make a video. I've just been listening to the Etsebeth podcast, a little recap on the Rogue. Man, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to the Rogue Invitational, but I thought I'll just jump on here, hit record, and yeah, just chat through some things. For me, the highlights, or the kind of standout performances of the weekend, it has to be obviously Annie Davíåsdóttir being so close to Tia the whole time. But on the ladies' side, Gabby McGawa. Man, I reckon there's so much talk around Mallory O'Brien and to some extent Emma Carey, and I feel like Gabby's kind of flown under the radar. But she is an extremely young athlete. I want to say 21, maybe 22. And she's got a long career ahead of her and already so well balanced. So I reckon she's a bit of an underdog and someone to watch. You know, there's a lot of talk around Hayley Adams and the battle between her and Mel O'Brien and how they will be, you know, the future of CrossFit. But I reckon Gabby McGawa, man, she's the real deal. So for me, she was one of the standout performances on this weekend. You know, Rogue was exactly what, you know, you expect from Rogue. Strength biased. You know, Brian Friend in the recent Etsebeth podcast where they break down the Rogue Invitational makes a really good point. He says the top 10 finishers in the Bella Complex was pretty much the top 10 finishers at the end of the weekend. So everyone who did well in the Bella Complex also ended up placing well overall, all the stronger athletes. So, you know, it's no secret, but again, just a cool kind of stat to show that it is very much a strength biased event. And so, you know, therefore you see people like Chandler Smith and Jason Hopper, you know, placing quite high in the field. In fact, I think Brian said that Chandler's placed in the top 10 3 years in a row at Rogue, whereas he hasn't had those kind of results at the CrossFit Games. So just an interesting thing to kind of take note of. I obviously came out hot on Friday with 2 videos, you know, recapping event 1 and 2, and then there was nothing between then and now. And it's been a big week. It's been a big week, hence I'm here. I've just been stuck behind the computer. I just wanted to get out, get some fresh air. And I've been editing the Fraser vlogs. If you've watched those, there's a high chance that you've had some issues with the audio. It's just been such a headache for me trying to sort out the audio on those videos. The 3rd episode's about to go live, I think in the next half an hour. And I think I finally managed to fix the audio. I learned something this weekend when it comes to creating content around events. It is 100% better to wait for the event to finish and then to release content that week after. People just invest so many hours watching the live feed that there's just no time left for them to watch vlogs and other commentaries. My 2 videos I put out on Friday didn't perform that well at all. I would have liked to have seen the Fraser vlogs do better. Hopefully this 3rd one's gonna go off. Actually, do me a solid and go and watch the 3 Fraser vlogs from the Rogue Invitational, especially the 3rd one that's coming out today. There's some great chats there with other athletes, some cool insights. And in fact, stay tuned to the end of this video. We're gonna have a talk about one particular athlete that I think Matt might do some work with. Just stay tuned for that. But yeah, my videos didn't get as many views as I thought they would. I would have thought the Fraser vlogs would go better. And then I heard that Etsebeth said that their podcast didn't go as well over the weekend either. So I think the key is to actually wait till the week after to release content around events. So good little learning experience. So if Annie and Gabby were the highlight performances on the ladies' side from the weekend, I would have to say that Katrin's performance was probably the most disappointing. You've probably seen by now that Katrin is moving on from ComTrain and Ben Bergeron. She's going to be joining the training plan team with Yami. He coaches Annie Davíõsdóttir, BKG. So I guess Katrin is in a bit of a transitional period in her life and her career as a CrossFitter. But even then, I mean, her points from the weekend were half that of Tia's, which to me, like, even if your training isn't going well, or even if your time with your coach is coming to an end, being that far behind the leading athlete in the sport, I don't know if there's a way back. What do you guys think? But I do wonder if these lackluster performances can be fully attributed to just her, having a transitional period in her life, or coming towards the end of a season with Ben Bergeron and the Comtrain team. Can that be the sole reason, or have we actually just seen the best of Katrin? Oh, there you go. There goes my coffee. Nah, it was empty. I'm just trying to think, if someone of Katrin's caliber, someone who's won the games twice, if they're having a bad run in training or whatever it is, would you expect such a massive drop in performance? Or have we just seen the best of Katrin, and has the competition, has the depth of the field just surpassed her? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see if there's any change in her performance, under a new coach, in a new environment. I don't think it's been confirmed that she's moving back to Iceland, but I can imagine that's what's happening. She's going to be moving back to Iceland. She has been in the States for many years now, training with Ben. So I think it's a great decision and a great thing for her to make a change when it comes to her surroundings and her coach and her training partners. But I just do wonder whether the massive drop in performance, whether that can be rectified, whether she can make it back. I mean, look at someone like Annie. She started at the CrossFit Games in 2009, the third ever CrossFit Games, when it was still at the ranch in the Aromas. She's pretty much has grown up with the sport, and she's now at her very best this many years later. So Katrin is 28, I believe, and Annie's like 32. So I guess you could argue that there is still time for Katrin to make significant changes and improvements and make a big comeback. But what do you guys think? What do you think of Katrin? Do you think we've seen the best of her? Do you think her time's up? Or do you think just with a bit of a change in scenery and coaching and training partners, could she revitalize the athlete within? Justin Medeiros, man. I would lie if I didn't say that I thought Pat Vellner would win comfortably this weekend. Obviously Medeiros won the games, but he's still the new kid on the block. Like Pat's had so many years performing at a high level and seeing great results. It's easy to think, Medeiros is still just not having luck, but it's just not easy to believe that we have a new champion that is here to stay, if you know what I mean, after like Matt and Rich. But after this weekend's performance, man, I think he is here to stay. And Pat is just head and shoulders above all the other athletes. He's such a clinical, such a consistent athlete. And for Justin to outdo him at the games and then again at the Rogue, it just speaks volumes of the caliber of athlete that Medeiros really is. And I think after this weekend, any doubt that anyone's had whether he is the real deal, whether he is here to stay, I think is gone. But yeah, both Pat and Justin just head and shoulders above the crowd, that's for sure. And then the last talking point for me from the weekend would be event number 7, the little sprint knockout little mini tournament. I loved it. I think it was awesome. And obviously it had a massive impact on the end results, with Pat Vellner missing a snatch and with Annie making the mistake on the bag. Both of those athletes then were out of contention and the race was kind of over. Once those two athletes were out, it was confirmed that Tia and Justin would win. So it would have been nice to have seen them kind of go through to that final 5 or even the final 2 in that little tournament. But I think it's part of the sport. You've got to be able to execute under pressure at high speeds. And if that event was at the start of the weekend, if that event was the opening event of the weekend, maybe people wouldn't be talking about the fact that it's not a great event to have as a final. But I think it was perfectly fine. I really enjoyed it. As a top CrossFit athlete, you have to be able to execute under pressure in the heat of the moment. And both Vellner and Annie, unfortunately, failed to do that. End of story. If you watched Matt's latest vlog, he has a chat to Annie in the car park. And I reckon Annie is the only female athlete who truly believes that she can beat Tia. I honestly don't think that many other athletes believe that they can actually beat her. They all know that they're just competing for second place. Laura, I think Laura says the right words, but I think it's like, as far as actually believing that you can beat Tia, I think Annie really believes that. So I'm excited to see how Annie progresses. She's on this trajectory. Wow. Trajectory at the moment with the games performance, the Rogue performance, and hopefully it continues upwards and we can see her come back in the new season even stronger, even better. She does say that there's things that she hasn't even picked up again since the pregnancy and since giving birth. So hopefully another kind of 6 months, she'll be an even better Annie. So yeah, that's my quick thoughts on the Rogue and the main stories that kind of come to mind. And then the athlete that hopefully Matt can be working with, even if it's just a once-off. Again, in vlog number 2, you'll see he has a chat to Emma Carey, an appearance in the car park. He gives Emma his number, or he takes her number and invites her to come to Vermont and trains with him. So currently he has Jason Hopper, under the HWPO programming and training, and obviously they sponsored Justin through Podium. But yeah, it'd be pretty cool to see him maybe spend some time with Emma Carey. She's such an amazing athlete at 17. She seems like a super humble girl, not a showy athlete by any means, but just humble, got her head screwed on right, and that's what you want in the sport. Actually, there's one more topic that I thought of when I heard about Katrin moving on from ComTrain. I was thinking about Ben Bergeron's approach with his athletes, and also someone like Noah Olsen and his performance at the games this year. By no means was, at a bad placing. It's easy to look at Noah's performance and go, oh, that wasn't the Noah we're used to. But I mean, I think he was 10th or 11th. Still an amazing finish at the CrossFit Games, out of every athlete in the whole world. But I have thought about kind of their approach. There's a very Zen approach to, thinking about mindset and journaling and the inner athlete and all that kind of, Zen-y type stuff. I don't quite know how to articulate it, but I feel like there's a lot of emphasis and a lot of time spent on that side of things. And I just wonder how much that stuff actually matters, or how much of that stuff can be learned and taught versus you're just born with that instinct, that mental strength. Like a Matt Fraser, like an Annie Thorisdottir, I wonder how much time they spent thinking about, the inner athlete, the mental side of things, you know what I mean? Does a Rich Froning and Matt Fraser, a Tia, do they journal? Do they think about what they're grateful for every day? All that kind of stuff that it seems to be a big focus for both Noah and the ComTrain approach with Ben Bergeron. I just wonder how much that stuff actually matters and how much of it is just inbuilt in an athlete. And the top ones that we've seen, whether they actually spend time intentionally doing that stuff or whether it's just second nature, it's just part of their DNA. They've just already got that killer instinct, that killer mindset that allows them to outdo everyone else. Just a thought I had this week. Don't get me wrong, I believe Noah and Katrin work as hard as anyone else. You guys know Noah's my bestie. But yeah, I do wonder how much that athlete psychology, sport psychology, all the practices that goes along with that I know someone like Ben Bergeron encourages his athletes to do, and I know Noah does. I just wonder how much of an effect that actually has on these athletes' performances versus someone who just naturally has the killer instinct. I don't know if I articulated that very well, but hopefully you get the gist. Okay team, I'm getting sunburnt. I better get out of here, go and find my dog. Stay sexy, keep roaring love, and I'll see you soon.